Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of TCG Talk. And today we're going to be going over a video where I wanted to do the different kind of archetypes for each hero. Whether you're a new player getting into the game and you want to figure out what hero is best for you and best for your playstyle, maybe you came from another game like Magic or Yu Gi Oh! Or Pokemon or any type of TCG, right? There's certain archetypes that are pretty similar in every game. Like for me, I know I was a heavy aggro player in Magic, so I enjoy aggro type decks in Flesh and Blood, which is why I mainly play Katsu. So I wanted to give a new player and just people who are trying out new heroes a resource in order to kind of see where each hero falls, at least from my opinion and my experiences. Um, so we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna try to go this quickly because there is a lot of heroes, and I won't elongate the video. But I put it into four different types. I think that these are the best four to do. Um, there's different archetypes for different TCGs and different games. So, but for Flesh and Blood, I think these are the four terms that are used the most. Aggro and control are kind of the obvious ones, right? Aggro is very aggressive. Control is very like trying to elongate the game out, use discard effects, use certain plays to keep your opponent off balance or make them use a lot of their cards while chipping away at damage. And then you have mid range, which is a big thing in Flesh and Blood, where it's kind of like almost like a combo like deck where people are trying to do multiple things to have like a mid range gameplay. Maybe they're putting out like medium level damage, but also have a medium level defense. They're trying to do a little bit of everything, kind of like a jack of all trades. And then you have ramp, which are heroes from my experience that are using good defensive reactions, good defenses in general, and good cards in order to set up turns later. Maybe they'll kind of like be dormant a little bit for through 2 or 3 turns, and then it'll hit you with like an insane turn to really kind of swing the game and put the game in their favor. So these are the four that I went with. We'll get right into it. I'm gonna do blitz heroes and regular heroes. If I do a hero that has both, then I'll kind of just point that out. But first, we're gonna start with Prism. For me, Prism is really hard to do. Right, they're Prism Control or Prism Control like, or like a sustain build. I mean, that's what won the Vegas uh, calling, where a lot of defensive reactions, a lot of sustain like Sigil of Solace, a lot of life gain, stuff like that. If I had to put Prism anywhere, I she can be in either one of these. She can be in aggro or control. Personally, I think the most prominent version of Prism is control like Prism. You can do an aggro build with her with Heralds, which is why Flesh and Blood is such a great game because every hero has their like several different ways you can play them. So if you see me put a hero in a certain block, that doesn't mean that's the only way to play them. I think that's the most prevalent way to play them, if that makes sense. But I put a Prism like a control type one. If you like to like make your opponent have to make some difficult decisions, you like putting a lot of things on the battlefield that hurt your opponent when they play against it. You have a lot of life gain, a lot of sustain, good blocks, stuff like that. A lot of her control like features are prominent on her getting spectral shield tokens. But I think she's more control mid rangey type. You almost could put her in combo, but I'd say her best iteration is like her aura build, which I think is like a tank prism or like a control prism. You can put her in aggro and play Herald Prism, which is really good too, but I would put her in control personally. Um, for Reinhardt, I'm probably gonna put Reinhardt honestly in ramp. Reinhardt can be aggro with his intimidate triggers. He doesn't really play control, but he can be aggro if you want him to, and he can be kind of mid range as well. But again, the great thing about Flesh and Blood is you can do multiple different ways of playing a hero. But I think his most prominent way is ramp. He's gonna use intimidate triggers, use different sustaining cards in order to like keep himself level, and then he's gonna hit you with Prodigy beat down into like an Alpha Rampage or whatever it is, like his kind of key card lineup to hit you with like a double Intimidate trigger or even a triple Intimidate trigger if you do it perfectly, and force you not to be able to block and hit you with a high attack turn where you only have like one card in hand to block with, and he's going to hit you really hard. So he's kind of a ramp hero, in my opinion. I would put him in ramp personally. Feel free to give your suggestions on anything of what you think, but I think if you're a ramp player, if you like kind of setting up big high crazy turns every couple turns, really kind of putting a countdown timer for your opponent, then this is really good for that. Next is Dash. Dash can, I think, is the most versatile hero as far as how you can play her in the game. Dash can play heavy aggro, Dash can play heavy control, Dash can play mid range, Dash can even do like heavy item builds, right? And kind of do different things. So all that to say that I'd probably put Dash in just mid range. I think that's the most consistent Dash is mid range build for her. Using items, using chip damage and medium sized damage to whittle down your opponent. I think she's really good for that. So I put her in mid range. For Lexi, brand new hero. This is difficult, right? Ice Lexi is control because the elements really make this difficult, right? And Lightning Lexi is definitely aggro. So it's really hard. I probably would put her, honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I think the best build for Lexi right now is Lightning with a splash of ice. So I'm probably gonna put her in a little bit in aggro, but she's not really like a go wide aggro, although she can. I think she is like it's like any ranger. They can't really block a ton. They're not supposed to. So she's gonna want to go aggro and try to chain a lot of it, like reload mechanics and snapshots and stuff like that. And then use shock charmers in order to inflict more damage. Get go again with the lightning ability from Lexi. If you play Ice Lexi, then she'll probably go more to control, a lot of discard effects, a lot of high dominating attacks, stuff like that. But I think aggro is the best place to put her. But honestly, you could put in both. If you like a character who can drastically switch depending on what you're doing, then Lexi's really good for that. For Levia, it's the same kind of the same thing with Reinhardt as far as a ramp character, but not as much. I honestly would put Levia. Levia is hard. Levia is such an interesting hero. I probably would put her in like a mid range because she does mid range damage. There are turns where she's super like hits for a lot, but she doesn't have to ramp up a ton to do that. Um, but I'd probably put her in mid range, honestly. There's not much to say about her. She's just a really interesting character when it comes to trying to define an archetype for her. So I'd probably put her in mid range. For Bravo, definitely ramp. Bravo is wanting to block out and kind of sustain for a few turns and then come in with a crippling crush or a spinal crush or even swinging for his hammer and hitting you with a high dominate attack and just ruin your day. So Bravo is definitely a ramp for me. That's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. If you like kind of hanging back for 2 or 3 turns and then just slapping someone upside the head and really hurting their not only their life total but their ability to play out the next turn, Bravo's really good for that. Viscera is like Dash. You literally can put Viscera in any of these. Viscera can play heavy aggro. Viscera can play control like OTK Viscera, where you wait and then just slap someone for 49 at the end of the freaking game. And you can play mid range Viscera, right? And play kind of either like a control to mid rangey Sonata build. So I think the most popular thing for Viscera is probably mid range. Although OTK is really good, I'm probably going to put him in mid range. Or you could even put him in ramp, right? But he's like an extreme form of ramp where he's not doing any, like OTK Viscera, you're not doing anything for like 5+ turns, 3+ turns, and then you hit for a crap ton when you hit Sonata. So I guess ramp would be the best thing to put him in, but he is similar to Dash and really a little bit similar to Levia, where like he doesn't really have an archetype defined. It's literally how you play him, and that's to say a lot for a lot of the Flesh and Blood heroes here. Katsu's either control or aggro. You can play a control Katsu or aggro Katsu. I think aggro Katsu is definitely the way to go. I think it's the most consistent now. I think control Katsu's kind of fell out of the meta, but you can play them both ways. But overall, the most popular form right now, I think, is aggro Katsu. If you want to just go, never block, try to hit for someone as much damage as humanly possible, then aggro Katsu's gonna be your best friend. For Oldheim, definitely control. Both of his hero abilities are defense reactions, so that should just tell you what he is. He can hit hard, right? He can be a ramp like Bravo is and hit really hard with his avalanche and his high dominate attacks. But for the most part, he plays a control style game. He's very much control. For Chain is more mid-rangey now, or ramp, I guess, is the best way to put it. Chain, he ramps up with his soul shackles and then comes in and hits you hard. With the Seeds ban, it kind of changes how he plays, but I would probably put him in the ramp category as well. And yeah, that's probably where I put Chain, but it's kind of him. He's kind of to be decided as far as like how people are going to play him now. For Briar's more aggro, definitely like most Rune Blades. Like even though you can put like Viscera everywhere, Briar I think is typically aggro. you want to create Lava Earth and Bioma tokens and Bioma Lightning tokens and just go and try to hit your opponent for a lot of different types of damage. So definitely aggro for Briar. For Dorinthia, it's also aggro. Dorinthia never wants to block either. Dorinthia wants to race you 24/7. She only uses her weapon for the most part, right? With the exception of a few cards. But she's definitely an aggro style build. I would put her in aggro. She's similar to Katsu where she doesn't want to block. She wants to get Dawn Blade counters and just go ham with her weapon and give a lot of attack reactions, a lot of pumps, a lot of on hit effects, stuff like that. For Bolton, I think so. Bolton's weird, right? Bolton is ramp. So Saber Bolton is ramp, right? So Saber Bolton, you're kind of like doing chip damage, chip damage, chip damage. And then you're wanting that big, huge turn, right, with Via the Vanguard and uh, Lumen Ascension, and just hitting with your sabers for a lot. So if you play Saber Bolton, he's definitely ramp. If you don't play Saber Bolton and you play with the blade, then he's aggro. So he can be in either one of these. I will put him in aggro just for now, but he can be ramp as well, rampy to mid rangey. It just depends if you want to play Saber Bolton or the other Bolton. So it just depends on who you want to play. That's all the regular heroes. Now to get into the Blitz heroes, right? And these kind of say the same for their Blitz versions. So for the Blitz heroes, for Benji, Benji can either be played kind of like heavy defense reaction. I think the best Benji though is aggro, but it can play a lot of defense reaction Benjis. Ira, in my opinion, at her height is control. You want a lot of defense reactions and Kadachi, and then hit with an attack. Or Kadachi, go again, attack Kadachi. Like she's wanting to block you out and then just hit with her Kadachis and just chip away at you and piss you off and play out the whole game that way. Data Doll, I've never played with Data Doll, never played against Data Doll, so I'm gonna skip Data Doll. So apologies for any Data Doll players. I just never played with or against her. For Kasai, I will definitely do aggro. I think her blades are insane at Blitz. Definitely an aggro based player. For Merchant, Merchant is kind of like I'm gonna put him in mid range. He could be control, but his life gain and lose life mechanic kind of speaks to mid rangey to me more than control. Um, if he's playing against an adult hero, then he's definitely control because he's trying to stall the game out. But if he's playing another blitz hero, I would probably put him more mid range on how he wants to play, and that's just how I do it. For KO, I'm same with Data Doll. I feel bad, but I'm not gonna give him a rating because I've never played against him or with him, so I can't give an accurate description of what he is. I would guess, knowing a brute, he's probably aggro, aggro-esque, maybe ramp, but probably aggro. And then Shyvana, she mirrors who she plays against, so Shyvana is everything. She can be, depending on who you're playing with, who you're mirroring in that matchup, she can be everything. We'll put her in mid range just to make it look nice and neat, but she can kind of be in everything. So these are all the heroes. This is where I would put them. I want to make a disclaimer so I don't get weird comments, right, about people saying, "Oh, this hero is supposed to play like this." That's the amazing thing about this game, and it's the amazing thing about Flesh and Blood is every hero can be played with every archetype, technically. Now, are there ideal archetypes for every hero? Yes, but it's not like Magic where there's colors and the colors do certain things. Like most of the cards in mono white are aggro-esque, but you can play control a little bit, but it's really just aggro, right? Whereas like Demir, like blue, is going to be a lot of control, right? That's not how this is in Flesh and Blood. Every hero can play every archetype. It's just they do really well in certain ones. Um, so don't get upset with me if I put the hero somewhere you think they're not. Like I said, Bolton's in aggro right now, but honestly, Bolton could be mid range, right? Katsu's in aggro right now. Technically, Katsu can definitely be in control. You know what I mean? Lexi can be in control with Ice Lexi. Prism can be in aggro with her Herald build, right? Dash can literally be in all four. Viscera can literally be in all four. So it just depends on what you want to do and how you want to play the game, which is why I love this game so much. There's just so many different ways to play out your turns and play out your heroes. But let me know what you think. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, negative or positive, totally fine. You know, I would love to see if this helps any new players or even players that are trying to look at different heroes. Hopefully, it kind of gives you a little bit more clarity on who you maybe should try out, especially if it's your first time playing. Look up the Blitz decks. There's seven total blitz decks now. Not including the Welcome to Ira deck, which most people probably don't have. But there's blitz decks for Briar, Lexi, Prism, Levia, Chain, and Bravo, I think. Yeah, and Oldheim. So seven decks total. Four from the Monarch and three from Tales of Aria. So you can pick up one of those blitz decks, have a fully playable deck right off the bat for blitz, and kind of give a little introduction for you. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on TCG Talk. Thank you.